Welcome to round number 6 of the Nitto Tire United States Touring Car Championship. My name's Geoff Lepper. I'm here with Rick Nannini as we get ready to set the grid for round number 6. A doubleheader weekend here. This is Sunday's race. Well, Rick, some of the challenges on that as well.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've had a doubleheader race for U.S. Touring Car, but here we are, and let's get down to the starting grid to see who's on pole. For the second race in a row, on pole position is the Brandon Kraus Bovenberg in the Ettore Squeegee Honda Civic.
On the outside of row number 1, Robert Thorne in the Auto Parts Warehouse Volvo C30.
In third place, we have the Andy Chittum Rich Peterson team in the BTM Niello Mini Cooper S.
And on the outside of that, Chris Locke in his Roger Kraus Racing Honda.
In row 3, we have the Carl Chicka, Dave Brown team driving the Competition Clutch Works Mitsubishi Lancer Rally Yard.
Points leader, Felipe Cabeza in the TNI Racing Mazda Speed 3.
Next, we have the Larry Banny Tom Lepper team, GoGoGear.com, UTI, Del City, BMW M3.
And Jim Stevens in the Inverter Technology BMW M3.
Next, we have the Simmons McClure team. They're driving the Cornwell Tool Dodge SRT4.
Tommy Lowe returns the series in his Roto Wheels ACT Integra Type R.
Next, we have Ali Arsham driving the GoGoGear.com, UTI, Del City, Hyundai Genesis Coupe.
Ben Ho and Daryl Chan make up the outside of row number 6 in the B&K Motoring ERZ Performance Honda Civic.
Row 7 is Rob Kreider, AJ Gracie, Performance and Frame Tuning, Mazda MX-6.
Tom Milburn in the Speedy Motorsports Acura Integra Type R completes row 7.
Row 8, we have RJ Reeves in the Accutech Racing Acura Integra Type R.
Teammate right next to him, Fred Watson in his Honda Civic Del Sol.
Next, we have the Larry Banny driving the GoGoGear.com Acura Integra Type R.
Percy Howard comes with the last year's championship car, the Evil Genius Racing Honda Prelude.
In row 10, we have Valtiera Makushima team driving the TNI Racing Mazda Speed 3.
And John Kluseldorf and his Grip Racing Group Lexus IS 300.
Okay, as we look at the rest of the touring car field, let's get down to the GT starting grid. On pole in GT is Vijay Mirzayan in the Achilles Motorsports BMW M3.
Outside of him, Henry Schmitt in the BMW of San Francisco M3.
Next, we have John Handel in the European Motorworks M3.
Jeffrey Sykes in the European Motorworks M3 on the outside of row number 2.
Next, we have Dave Lang in the DW Pumps BMW M3.
And Billy Maurer in the Bavarian Tuning M3.
And then finally, the only non-BMW, Ken Kurtz in the Pontiac Trans Am.
And completing the field is Naveed Ganji in his BMW M3.
Okay, the car's getting lined up, and we're getting set for the lights to go out, and here we go.
You said lights, that's right, we got the lights, and look at it is Robert Thorne ahead of Brandon Kraus. Oh, is Brandon Kraus having a problem dropping back? It looks like he's down to 7th or 8th now.
Brandon had a great start at the beginning, and then he dropped back. Don't know what happened. Maybe he missed a shift, maybe something broke in the car. But that's Volvo's not complaining, Robert Thorne's not complaining, he's taking this.
Yeah, Robert Thorne taking full advantage of that as we see Chris Locke and Felipe Cabezas battling for 3rd position as they head up the hill to turn number 2.
Not really close. Boy, look at the lead. The Volvo's already just starting to pull away. But 2nd place, Andy Chittum in that Mini Cooper S, the Niello Mini Cooper S, is pulling away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, looks like a couple terrible starts there. One from Brandon Kraus in the Ettore Squeegee Honda Civic. We don't see the teammate car of Dave Brown and Carl Chicka in that Lancer Rally Art. That car, the 4-wheel drive, usually gets the best start, so you can always bank on that car being first to the first corner.
Yeah, but those guys had to switch cars for the whole field because their car broke, so they had to actually switch to a different Mitsubishi Lancer this time, and they've been having a tough time, so we'll see how that goes. But up front here on the lap 1, turn 6, we have seems like everybody stayed clean, nobody crashed into each other, and everybody's going away, but look at the lead, the Volvo's pulling away. Jeez.
Yeah, is this guy Sebastian Vettel here trying to get over there? There's no DRS in U.S. Touring Car, buddy. Come on, make a show out of it. But great job for that team, that KPAX Racing 3R Volvo C30, pulling out over Andy Chittum now in that Niello BMW RPM Motorworks Mini Cooper S, and 2 forced induction cars, followed by Chris Locke in his Honda Prelude, the naturally aspirated H22 in that Prelude, and Felipe Cabezas.
Now keep in mind, the Mini is not in the championship fight because he's not done all the races this year, but the Volvo and the Honda Prelude definitely are in the championship hunt, and so this could have huge implications with 2 races left after this one. So speaking of Mitsubishis, there goes Dave Brown in that Mitsubishi Lancer that you saw just go by as we complete lap 1. Boy, that's about a good 2-second lead that the Robert Thorne enjoys in his yellow Volvo.
It's one of those hard things to do. Do you pull ahead in the Volvo knowing that you're going to start slacking down a little bit when the car starts getting warm and you start wearing those Nitto NTO1s out? Or do you just pace yourself and stay out just in front. Looks like their strategy is to go as fast as they can and get as big as lead as possible.
I think that's the smart thing to do. It's even though it's a relatively long race today, you still want to get as big a lead as possible because you never know what's going to happen, and chances of a full course yellow are fairly small. So get a big lead and stay out of trouble.
Looks like another car having problems there is Kurt Simmons and his Dodge SRT4. You see him dropping back, but boy, Dave Brown has really pulled up through the field now, all the way up to 8th place after starting last. And a great run for Dave Brown there as we watch the run through the field here at turn number 6 at Sonoma Raceway, coming down the carousel. Everybody in a nice straight line there.
Yeah, everybody's behaving themselves. It has a nice gap. It seems like there's not very many side-by-side actions, except as you get there right there, as you get Watson and Dave Brown, the two of them going side-by-side through 6, which is a hairy place to be side-by-side, because if you get in the marbles there, you're headed for a nice wall.
Yeah, not made for 2-car wide there in the exit of the carousel. Coming down into turn number 7, the hard braking zone. Robert Thorne, it looks like he's extended the lead a little bit over Andy Chittum now. Chris Locke on the heels of Andy Chittum now, battle for third, and we saw just in the clip there of Brandon Kraus on the heels of Felipe Cabezas.
Brandon Kraus seems like he had a bad start, but he seems like he's recovering, and there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with the car, so chances are really good that he's going to work his way up. Looks like he's already fighting with Felipe. Now keep in mind, Felipe is carrying a lot of ballast because of his success so far in the year. So Felipe's slow, and Brandon is fairly fast because he's carrying a lot less ballast. So we'll see how that shakes out. But, oh, look at that. The Mini's already getting defensive.
Already defensive here. Only on the second lap. He's going to have to really pay attention to Chris Locke behind him. But Chris is definitely putting the pressure on, trying to make a mistake. Boy, we got battles all over this track now. As we look back there, you saw Doug Makashima moving up in the Mazda Speed 3 as well. Started last in that car with problems all weekend. Had an accident on Friday.
So right now, this is probably our best battle in the field between the Prelude of Locke and the Mini Cooper of Andy Chittum. That is awesome fight going on. In the meantime, Thorne is starting to pull away again, and he's hoping that he's going to have none of this come near him.
Yeah, look at Felipe Cabezas really holding Brandon Kraus at bay. Not really sure if there is a problem with Brandon Kraus. We're assuming there's not, because he has kind of recovered back in 5th and is putting the pressure on Felipe, but he hasn't gone through the field as fast as I thought he was going to. We'll have to keep monitoring that, but boy, the Volvo getting loose there. Robert Thorne is really pushing it.
He's turning up, definitely turning up the boost, and he's kicking butt because he's turning the fast lap of the race at the moment with the clear track in front of him. But we'll see. Was that?
Looks like Brandon Kraus said to get around Felipe Cabezas there at the top of the carousel. They're not sure if there's a problem with Felipe's car because Brandon was putting it to him, so maybe there was a mistake there.
Wow, that was a beautiful move there. But as we see, oh my God, these guys are going to hit each other. There's going to be something bad that's going to come out of this. These guys better be careful.
And that's exactly what Brandon Kraus needs, though. He needs those guys to go side by side so he can close up that gap, see if he can get around them and run down Robert Thorne. Because as this race rounds down, time is going to be of the essence.
Look at how quickly Brandon passed. Once he passed the Felipe Cabezas' blue Mazda there, he closed the gap up to the fight here for second place between the Mini Cooper and the Honda Prelude. Yeah. Now it's a three-way fight for second place.
Yeah, definitely not a problem with that Prelude as he closes the gap right up there behind Chris Locke. Now Chris Locke's trying to put the pressure on Andy Chittum. He's going to have to start watching his mirrors as we look for Brandon Kraus to see if he can pounce on that and move up into second.
Now Chris Locke is going to have a hard time because not only does he have to try to make the pass on the Andy in front of him, but he also has to watch his mirrors to make sure he doesn't get passed. Although they are teammates. So here's as we sit. Here's our top 5. We'll see you guys in a minute after the commercial break.
And welcome back on board with Brandon Kraus and the Ettore Squeegee Honda Civic as he tries to put the pressure here on Chris Locke. Looking to the inside in turn number 1. Don't know if he can hold that. Chris Locke's going to have the momentum as he enters and the inside line to turn number 2.
These guys are teammates, so hopefully they will not take each other out because that would not be a good thing. But looks like they got a point buy from Chris Locke. So there you go.
Hey, the teammate rule there. You know, you're faster than me. Why don't you go run those guys down? You know, Chris Locke's thinking big picture, looking for championship. Currently sitting second. Doesn't want to affect that at all. But that puts Brandon Kraus into the podium step now. 3rd place for Brandon Kraus.
Not too bad for falling back to 8th place at the start. Not too bad at all. I bet you at that moment his heart probably just sank and said, "Oh my God, the day's shot," and it was my fault.
Yeah, it was. You can't blame anybody but yourself there. But Robert Thorne still extending that lead over over Andy Chittum. A good 5 seconds now before we see the Mini Cooper S. Now Brandon Kraus has a job to do. Got to buckle down and see if he can close that gap onto that Mini.
Boy, the Andy Chittum better put the hammer down and not start to get confused or get worried about what's behind him. He needs to also put the hammer down and catch up to that Volvo. Otherwise, it looks like Brandon's fast and he's coming at him.
Yeah, Brandon really closed the gap there in less than a half a lap. He is now right on the back bumper of Andy Chittum's Mini Cooper S, and you know that Mini has some problems as it gets later on in the race. Heat soak on that top mount intercooler really affects the boost on that car and starts to have them slow down. But boy, the braking on this Honda Civic from Brandon Kraus, that's really where he's making up all his time. You start watching the videos, he is really, really doing great on the braking zones.
Yeah, it seems like through the S's, though, the Mini starts to pull away from Brandon. So it looks like each car has its strengths and weaknesses, because in certain sections you see the Mini just start to pull away from the Civic, but then, like you say, on the braking, it seems like the Civic catches back up. Also, at turn 11 seems like that Kraus is really good, which is the turn coming up right as we broke away from the shot. But look at this; these guys are already starting to lap cars. Hopefully, this lap traffic will not be a problem for some of these guys, and nobody will get something wrong. As we see Jim Stevens in the BMW there, also his first race with us, and doing a really good job in the top 5.
Yeah, great run for him. It's great to see him come into the series, and it'd be nice to see another BMW besides Larry Bandy get there. And look at that. A little problem there for Andy Chittum. Goes deep into turn number 4. That lets Brandon Kraus go on there. Man, they're just giving it to Brandon here as we go on board.
We go on board and we see what happens. It looks like Andy made a mistake in the Mini, and yeah, sure enough, he locked up. Oh, missed his apex, ran a little wide. And that's what happens.
You get 2011 Nitto Tire United States Touring Car Champion behind you. The pressure's on. He's on your back bumper. You make a mistake. That lets him go into second. Andy Chittum into third place.
He was probably watching his mirrors and missed his braking point, but that's what happens. As now, Andy Chittum is under fire from the prelude of Chris Locke. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, he pointed his teammate by, and his teammate said, hey, follow me through. And here he is coming down into turn number 7. Andy Chittum definitely defending on the inside there, giving Chris Locke no outside. He'll try for the little over-under there, try to do the break, get the Mini locked up there. But look at Chris Locke on the outside there. Can he make it stick? Is he going to make it work? Side by side there, he's still there. That big torque of that prelude, and he does it.
Work. Andy was really nice, though. He could have pushed the issue and forced both of them off-road.
That's usually what I say. This is my racing line. You can have it when I'm done.
Yeah, Andy was definitely saw that coming and decided, you know what, I'll take this. I'm not going to wreck both cars here, which was nice. But now, the Volvo of Robert Thorne, he's in a little bit of trouble because guess who's coming?
Yeah, the problem for Robert Thorne is Brandon Kraus can now see him.
Yeah.
So there we go. We coming down the hill here, down to turn number 9, into the chicane. Now the IndyCar chicane running here with the World Touring cars as well. So this is the first time that these cars have been on this configuration.
Let's go back and see what happened at the start. This was Brandon at the start, and what we see is he couldn't find second gear. That's what the problem was.
Yeah, it's not there. There's a box full of neutrals there in second, so down to third, then down to fourth, and looks like he's going to be stuck with third, fourth, and fifth gear during this race.
Actually, he did really well considering that he didn't freak out and he just went to third gear and said, okay, I'll take what I got, and that's going to be good enough.
Well, that's an experienced racer and a champion there. Shows him what it does. We go on board now with Kurt Simmons in the Cornwall Tool Stevens Creek Dodge SRT4. You see Brandon Kraus. Looks like a moving pylon there as they go by him as they head up to the hill there.
Look at Kurt just weaving in and out of traffic. He's just not afraid.
Yeah, that Dodge SRT4, great in straight line, not so great in corners, but definitely got the power there.
He's definitely moving up pretty good through the field here, but really good job by Kurt. Next we have Chris Locke.
Starting on the 4th place coming there. See there, this is going to be interesting there. He's got a really jerk out of the way there.
That could have been.
He was lucky there was nobody on the outside of Chris Locke there.
That could have been two teammates taking each other out right there on the start and right in front of the whole 25,000 people here. That would not have been good.
Yeah, it gave Chris a little bit of a thing there. We see Doug Makashima back through the field here. We'll have to see if he has to avoid Brandon Kraus as well. But right on the hills there, Dave Brown in that Mitsubishi Lancer. The Evo now switching over from the Rally Arc to the Evo for just this one race.
Yeah, he had a pretty bad weekend so far. He had some mechanical problems, was forced to start in the back. And as we have here, Dave Brown in the competition clutch Mitsubishi Lancer.
And no time in this car at all. This was the first lap this car has done in anger in a very, very long time. The first time Dave Brown's ever been in this car to come out and start a race in this car. No practice time, no qualifying time, just, hey, you're racing.
Yeah, that would be kind of difficult, but no problem for our 2 or 3-time champion, Dave Brown. 3-time champion Dave Brown. Did a very nice job there so far. So as we get back to live action, here we are. We're following the Tommy Lowe in the white Integra, being followed by Billy Maher in that green BMW, who's running in the GT class.
Yeah, Billy's starting to come through the touring car field now. All the GT leaders are coming up through. Billy Maher's got a big GT lead now, but I do know that King Kurtz and Henry Schmitt are hot on his tails as they go through the touring car field.
We'll get back to our GT field in a minute, but as we are right now, we're going to follow this 4-car battle here between the GoGoGear.com of Ali Arshem, that's the Hyundai Genesis, the yellow Hyundai Genesis, and Tommy Lowe in that white Integra, followed by Doug Makashima in the red Mazda, and Tom Lepper in the yellow BMW.
Well, that BMW from Tom Lepper and Larry Banney, that team won a race this year with Larry Banney taking his first U.S. Touring Car win. Tom Lepper stepping in here, another one of those, hey, get in the car and do race, no practice time, no qualifying, gets to do the race here on Sunday.
Yes, that was a big thing for Tom Lepper, as like you say, he had no practice time in that car, just jumped in the race. The first turn of the race was the first time he's whoa, that's close. These guys are going to be added. These guys were added yesterday in the previous round, and looks like they're added again this time. But look at this traffic jam between the GT cars and touring cars, all mixed in. Oh boy, there's Geoff Sykes in the BMW M3 trying to go underneath Doug Makashima.
Look at that 3 wide.
Wow. That's a traffic jam, and these 2 guys are heading the field in the yellow Genesis and the white Integra. Who's going to come out of this? Nobody's giving up. Side by side through the SS. They're touching doors.
This is the worst thing for Geoff Sykes as he sees King Kurtz pulling away now. He's stuck behind here as they go down 3 wide for a minute there into the chicane. You can't do that.
The GT car is trying to go by, and just John Handel, European Motorworks M3, as the Integra shuts the door on him. Here we are on board with Ali Arshem's GoGoGear.com, and the Genesis makes a move underneath the Acura of Tommy Lowe. You'd think that the job was done and the pass was complete, but not quite. They're side by side. You can hear the engines of the Integra as we get to the S's. They're side by side, and Tommy Lowe takes it and almost loses it on the exit. Oh man!
I think he forgot about the chicane there, saying I got to stay on the right when you get in the heat of the battle. There, it's not too. And here they are again, side by side. Oh, and there's contact. Look at that.
Oh, boy, you knew something like this was going to happen, but fortunately, it looks like none of the cars are hurt too bad, just in a little bit in the dirt. And the 2 of them continued, but wow, let's get on board Ali's car and see what happened here. We're on board the Genesis as he's chasing the Integra, the rotor wheels Integra of Tommy Lowe.
Yeah, Ollie out here on the backside, coming up on the inside, looks to the inside there, has a nose on him, but only at the rear tire, never really there. It looks like Tommy turned down on him, but I don't think Ollie should have been there. He saw Tommy raise his hand like, what's going on, buddy? Yeah. Just saying hello. Continue on. Let's go racing.
Well, this is touring car racing for you. It's tough racing, it's close racing, and hopefully nobody got hurt, and hopefully the cars are not going too bad.
Nothing like sliding sideways and waving to the guy that's hitting you.
But as we are on board, now we see the top 3. Andy Chittum now in 4th place, followed by Felipe Cabezas in 5th, and Jim Stevens in the BMW M3 in 6th, who's doing a fantastic job there in 6th place.
Yeah, here comes Robert Thorne now, and Brandon Kraus right on the back bumper here. This is your battle for lead. Looking on the inside, Brandon Kraus there. Volvo goes wide. Can Brandon make it stick? He's still going to be there. Looking on the inside into turn number 5, coming down the hill, and it looks like Robert Thorne got the run out of the carousel down into turn number 7.
Boy, this is going to be some great racing here. These 2 guys are going at it, but neither one can afford to make a mistake here. They got to be very careful, otherwise one of them could not finish this race. So they have to be very careful what they do.
Well, Robert Thorne's got to be thinking too, hey, I'm in this championship. I'm right there after this race. If I can get second, I could be in the points lead here. Brandon Kraus doing a one-off race. This is the 2nd time he's done that. He's not going to affect my championship battle, so I do want to hold him off, but I do got to be careful.
Keep in mind, Brandon Kraus is racing for the Kraus Bovenberg team, so they are in the championship hunt, although they're a little bit further down. But right now, effectively, Volvo Robert Thorne is leading the points if you do the drops but it gets complicated there as
But he is a racer. He wants to win, and he's doing everything he can, going back and forth under braking. Here comes a little bump there from Brandon Kraus saying, "Hey, I'm here, buddy. Let me wave to you," just like Tommy Lowe waved to Ollie Arsham in the accident. They're doing the same thing here, but how about Brandon Kraus, man? Dropped all the way to 8th, moved up to 5th, did the battle there, got by everybody there. Now the battle for the lead here.
I don't think these guys are thinking about championship as we kind of take a break. You will see the top 5. We'll talk about that when we get back. As we get back, let's watch the start of the GT race. We have Henry Schmitt and John Handel. Vijay Mirzayan's car could not get a start because he had suspension problems, so we have John Handel in the silver M3 leading right now going into turn 2 and 3.
Yeah, Ken Kurtz had some problems. Your round number 5 winner in his car, so he had to start last, moving up through the field nicely, but it is John Handel in the lead, Henry Schmitt in second, followed by Billy Maurer in third.
Yeah, Billy Maurer driving that green BMW, but John Handel in that silver M3, followed by the white M3, followed by the red M3 of Geoff Sykes. So we have silver, white, red, first, second, and third, with the Pontiac following him in fourth.
We could say Pontiac are the first non-BMW. Fourth place, Ken Kurtz in his Yokohama TPIS Pontiac Firebird. Won last race, current points leader now, but this battle for the lead now, a 3-car battle it looks like here, between John Handel, Henry Schmitt, and Geoff Sykes down into the hairpin.
Yeah, John Handel driving that European Motorworks M3 really quick. He's got an S63 motor in that car. And then we have the XPTG car driven by Henry Schmitt, BMW San Francisco sponsored car. Really super fast car. But now look at Ken Kurtz has moved up, so he's already moved past Geoff Sykes in the replay BMW M3.
Yeah, going through the field here in the GT, as you see Ken Kurtz trying to move back up. Once again, did start last as it comes down into the braking zone here. Into turn number 7, we have Henry Schmitt in second place, Jeffrey Sykes behind him. Still trying to hang on the coattails of Ken Kurtz, but starting to fall back a little bit as, get through the S's and on the back straights there where that Pontiac can really open up the wings on that car.
Yeah, this is not a great track for the Pontiac because this was more about horsepower, but here's our recap of our GT class leaders.
And looking here at the leaders in our touring car battle, once again, Robert Thorne in the KPAX Racing 3R Volvo C30 from Auto Parts Warehouse. On the heels there, Brandon Kraus in the Ettore Squeegee's Honda Civic, the Roger Kraus Racing there, coming into turn number 7. Battle for the lead now, and the GT cars are coming. I'm not sure if the GT cars are going to play a factor here in our touring car battle, but it's going to be interesting to see if Brandon Kraus can get the job done before the GT comes up through the field.
Boy, did you see the nice braking move on the Volvo that Robert Thorne did? He really made up a precious few seconds right there under braking. It's really good under braking in that Volvo. Thorne is impressive there. But let's see how this battle works out here because I'm sure Brandon's planning his move already. He's just waiting for the opportunity for maybe a small mistake by Robert to make his move. It's going to be interesting. But in the back, you see Ken Kurtz, the GT leader, lurking about. He's catching up to these guys because those V8 cars certainly are a lot quicker. And he's going to catch up to these guys pretty soon, so it's going to be interesting. But once again, going through turn 6, same thing.
Yeah, Chris Lock's getting handled by Ken Kurtz right now, so that is now the last car behind them is going to be Robert Thorne, Brandon Kraus, and now Ken Kurtz there as you see him entering turn number 7. But look at the battle for Brandon Kraus, trying to see if he can find a way around Robert Thorne. He's looking left, he's looking right. They go down into turn number 11, rounding down the inside, and locks up, and was there contact? I'm not sure if there was or not.
No, it looked like they were clean. Both are running side by side. It's a drag race out of there, and here comes the V8 cars, the Pontiac of Ken Kurtz, trying to get by both of them. Boy, this is going to be and then Geoff Sykes in the M3 now has caught up to this battle too. So we have the 2 first place guys in GT with the 2 first place guys in Touring all bunched up together.
Yeah, it looks like Ken Kurtz saw that the touring car battle for the lead was taking place there, decided to back out a little bit, said I'll go ahead and get these guys in the straightaway. That allowed Geoff Sykes to come back on him now. Ken's probably going, I can't afford to do this anymore, guys. I got to get around you. I have my own battle for the lead.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of tight because like you say, Ken's in a tough position. He doesn't want to screw these guys up, but then he doesn't want to get passed by the BMW either. So here we get to the straightaway, and here he is. He puts the hammer down. Look at the speed difference as he goes by the both cars at once. But whoa, he goes wide. He misses his braking point, goes wide.
Oh, he's way out
jumping
there,
up and
bouncing
down.
over the grates.
But in the meantime, Brandon went by. Brandon is now in the lead, made the gap.
And King Kurtz right in between the two touring car leaders there, but...
Wow, that was quite a move there. That was probably the move of the race right there, which shifted everybody around.
I'll tell you what, King Kurtz got on those bare brakes and had him lit up as he went down into turn number 7. A little bit of mistake there, coming out on the outside there. That'll let Brandon Kraus go on the inside of Robert Thorne, and not sure if Robert Thorne was watching the Firebird going, what are you doing way out there? But that allowed Brandon Kraus to come into the lead now. Brandon Kraus, your new leader, round number 6 of the 2012 Nitto Tire United States Touring Car Championship.
Now we're going to see if the Volvo has anything for Brandon there to see if the Thorne can catch up to Brandon, or is Brandon just going to walk away in the Honda Civic?
Yeah, time's running down here. It looks like King Kurtz finally got around Brandon Kraus, and Geoff Sykes now got around Robert Thorne. Still has to see if he can get around Brandon Kraus, and Chris Locke still holding down 3rd place in his Honda Prelude. Coming up over the hill now, you do see Geoff Sykes. It looks like Brandon Kraus is still holding him at bay, but I expect once they come out of the carousel, you'll see Geoff Sykes power around that Honda Civic.
Geoff Sykes should have a lot more horsepower here, so he should be able to, once he gets to the straightaway, to get by that Honda Civic. But here we are to the finish line, getting close on the last lap. He's only got a couple more turns to go. From going back to starting on pole, dropping back to 8th place, and taking the checkered flag. Ken Kurtz is your GT leader, and Brandon Kraus, your touring car leader.
Yeah, and not only that, he spoiled our perfect season now. We had the first double winner here this year.
This entire year.
In 6 rounds
right.
now, Brandon Kraus takes the win in his Ettore Squeegee's Roger Kraus Racing Honda Civic SI as we look at our top finishing positions of the field.
And in the GT class, we had 1st place Ken Kurtz, 2nd Geoff Sykes, 3rd Henry Schmitt.
Yeah, great run there for Ken Kurtz and his GT, and Brandon Kraus, the double race winner here at round number 6. Pairing up.
The start of the race, I missed a gear. Second gear didn't want to take, so I tried it 3 times, and by then everybody, about 8 cars got around me, so I went to 3rd gear, and, it is what it is. Sometimes I get good starts, sometimes I get bad starts, but put the head down, and my crew, on the radio, my spotters just told me to concentrate, hit my marks. The Volvo, the KPAX Volvo with Robert driving, he drove a great race. It was really hard to catch him. He had a fast car. His car's a little bit heavier than our car, so his car's a little harder on tires and brakes. And, cornering is definitely a little affected, I think, by the weight of his car. But we drove a great race, Ettore Squeegee's jumped aboard again for this weekend, and I made him proud, I think, and we swept the weekend, and I'm just happy I'm here right now at P1.
Thanks for joining us. Tune in again next time when we'll bring you another exciting episode of Final Drive TV with the latest news from the world of cars. For more information and to view complete episodes, please visit us at finaldrive.net.